From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Yellowstone County's health officer has ordered new COVID-19 restrictions to go into place starting this Wednesday. He and local health experts stood together today to say workers are stretched, the system is strained, and numbers are expected to jump. But he held off on ordering a further reduction in capacity for bars, casinos, and restaurants. John Felton said during today's news conference that after hearing from business leaders, he decided they didn't have enough time for new measures to even make a difference. There are some changes that come with the new order, though. Q2's Mitch Legge has details.
Capacity at Yellowstone County restaurants, bars, and casinos will remain at 75% on Monday, after Yellowstone County Health Officer John Felton issued new COVID-19 restrictions in a bid to slow the spread of the disease across the community. Last week, Felton spoke of 25% capacity at those establishments, and Monday bumped it up to 75%. After hearing that local businesses would struggle to survive at 25% capacity. Felton took the podium at Riverstone Health alongside members of the county medical technical team, who Felton said he leaned on as a resource in drafting the restrictions. They take effect this Wednesday, October 14th at 8 a.m. Felton's order reiterates part of Montana Governor Steve Bullock's Phase 2 reopening plan, mentioning establishments must close no later than 12:30 a.m. The order also capped private and public gatherings at 25 people, while churches and places of worship are limited to 50% capacity. Felton said COVID-19 has been on the rise in Yellowstone County since mid-September. The increase in cases has taxed the local healthcare system and contact tracing efforts at the county health clinic. On Monday, Yellowstone County had the most active cases of all 56 counties in the state, with a total of 1,487. Felton said this health officer order will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. If cases continue to trend upward, tighter restrictions will be considered.
COVID-19 is very real, and it is having a significant effect on our daily lives, the health of the people that we know and love, and our healthcare systems. If our community takes personal responsibility, we will see a difference, but it's going to take all of us. Our friends, our neighbors, our businesses, and our officials must join together for the good of everybody.
The group gathering restrictions will not prohibit people from voting in person for the presidential election come November 3rd. In Billings, Mitch Legge, MTN News.
Thanks, Mitch. Felton also says you need to limit interactions with people you don't live with to 6 per week and make sure that those interactions are brief. Well, the Yellowstone County Attorney's Office has received many complaints about violations over the last several months, but most have been dealt with through conversation, not prosecution. Q2's Casey Conlon has more on that.
In the 5 months since Billings businesses have been allowed to reopen, the Attorney's Office has not filed a single criminal complaint for a COVID-19 order violation. But that's not to say they haven't been close.
There are entities that have been in various stages of it. However, usually along the lines of, okay, here's your criminal charge, here's when you come to court, here's when you get fined or have jail time. Along the lines, people recognize that this is a real issue.
Lervik says those instances have been outliers. Many of the more recent complaints have been about masking issues indoors, which are very difficult to deal with for 2 reasons. One,
by the time the complaint is filed, that person's typically gone.
And even if the office did locate an offender,
if they turn into, down the road, a much more legal proceeding, it's a very, very strict standard, and it's a criminal act. And so we want to make 100% certain that we know what's going on and what isn't.
It's a bigger problem for business owners who are being forced to play both sides while assuming all the risk.
Really, the way those orders are drawn, they are directed at empowering businesses to control what's going on within their establishment. And so if there was a violation of that order, it would be directed at the business.
It's scary. I wish that everybody would wear the mask and wash their hands and stay home when they're sick. But unfortunately, that's not the case. I mean, we've had some incidents where people have threatened violence against staff members by asking them to put masks on. And that's pretty concerning. Trying to be the police in your own business when you're not trying to chase away customers when you're already at reduced occupancy has been a really, really tough task to take on.
In Billings, Casey Conlon, MTN News.
Thank you, Casey. Today, state health officials report 423 new confirmed COVID-19 cases across Montana and another death. That death, a Yellowstone County man in his 70s, brings the total COVID-19 related deaths here to 74 now. The county now has 1,487 active cases, followed by Flathead with 1,071. Flathead reports the most new cases today at 94. Overall, Montana has more than 6,700 active cases. We're now third in new cases per capita in the nation, behind the Dakotas. Well, the campaign to support marijuana legalization in Montana has gotten much of its funding from one out-of-state organization. Now that group is facing complaints that it hasn't been transparent enough about where its money comes from. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian has more.
The North Fund, headquartered in Washington, D.C., has contributed roughly $4.8 million to support 2 ballot measures that would create a recreational marijuana system in Montana. And so far, it hasn't released any information about who donated that money. The North Fund filed with the Commissioner of Political Practices as an incidental committee, a group that doesn't have to release information on its donors because its primary purpose is something other than spending in elections. Commissioner Jeff Mangan sought to reclassify it as an independent committee, which would have to reveal its donors. But the North Fund asked last month for that decision to be reconsidered. Last week, Steve Zabawa of the group Wrong for Montana, which is opposing the marijuana legalization effort, filed a complaint against the North Fund, saying campaign activities were central to its existence and it should be required to reveal its donors.
Nobody knows who the wizard is. You know, all we want to do is push the curtain over and find out who the Wizard of Oz is, in this case the Wizard of Pot.
Zabawa's complaint points to reports that the North Fund has spent millions in campaigns on other issues in other states, including Missouri, Colorado, and Ohio. We asked the North Fund to respond to the complaint. In a statement, a spokesperson said this: "Our response to the initial COPP letter defines North Fund's mission to carry out public education and advocacy efforts regarding progressive policies through grassroots organizing, legislative lobbying, or ballot measures on a wide range of issues." It clearly states that North Fund was not established to focus solely on any specific state or policy proposal, including cannabis policy reform or marijuana legalization. Commissioner Jeff Mangan declined to comment on any active complaint. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Well, New Approach Montana has raised a total of nearly $7 million to support its legalization measures. Initiative 190 would set up the framework for a recreational marijuana system. Constitutional Initiative 118 would amend the state constitution to let the state prohibit marijuana sales to people younger than 21. All right, Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire joining us now. Bob, our weather is definitely taking a turn. Feels more like fall suddenly, kind of like winter maybe in some places of the state.
Yes, it certainly is the case. It was very windy today, especially in the Billings area. Winds were gusting up to 59 miles per hour, but you'll notice now the winds are starting to die down across much of the state. Anyway, they're anywhere about like 5 to 12 to maybe 6 miles per hour, and that's about it. Not much, 16 here in Billings. But you'll notice we do have a winter weather advisory up in the northwest corner of the state above the 5,000-foot level. Could see 1 to 3 inches of snow in the mountain passes up in that area. And we did have one weather disturbance move through earlier today. Brought some scattered rain showers to our area. Continues to kick out of the region. But now tomorrow, another one starts moving in. This is going to bring some rain showers to our area. Maybe some snow up in the higher elevations. Beartooth could see some snow out of it as well. That kicks out of the way. And then look what happens on Wednesday. More snow starts dropping down from Canada. Could see a little rain mixing with snow in the Billings area on Wednesday night on into Thursday morning. We'll chat more about that in a few more minutes.
Well, in celebration of Indigenous Peoples Day, Billings First Congregational Church introduced a new pocket park. Q2's Shaquille Kozar tells us how this park will honor Native American communities.
Billings First Congregational Church held the dedication of a new pocket park located at the side of the church facing 4th Avenue. The name of the park is InterTribal Community Park, and it will serve as a place for people in the community to connect, as well as a way to honor Native American communities and cultures.
How could we honor the land and give back? And so this was one way to create this green space in this park so that people could come and have rest. They could come and have a meal. They could meet friends. As mentioned, we have electricity to the park and public Wi-Fi. Could this be a place, especially for those who are experiencing life on the street, that they might be able to connect to people, connect to their families. It is a park for everyone, no matter who you are, where you are on your journey. You're welcome in this park.
Along with amenities like Wi-Fi and electricity that will be accessible at the park, a grant was secured that allowed landscaping, artwork, sculptures, and benches to be installed in the coming phases of construction. Local artist Sherry Cornett is the creator of the current and coming artwork. She says the art will be used as a way to create a comfortable space for people.
This idea that I mentioned earlier about this embracement, this embracing space here and having a space downtown for folks to feel really comfortable, that was our goal.
In Billings, Shaquille Kozart, MTN News.
Thank you, Shaq. Still to come on the MTN News at 10 here on Q2. Back on the campaign trail, President Trump holding a rally in Florida tonight where he gave an assessment on his health after contracting COVID. And the confirmation hearing gets underway for the president's Supreme Court nominee, Amy Coney Barrett. Those stories just ahead.